Hello and welcome back to the second installment of Planning for Beginners. In today's video, I'm going to be tackling the topic of layering. So we're going to be talking about like sticker layering. In the last video, which I'll link below or like leave a little tag thing or whatever, we talked about clustering or working with one sticker sheet, so kind of grouping stickers together, but we're going to get a little bit further into that today with layering, where we're actually like putting things on top of each other to make clusters. But we're dealing with things like opacity, so for layering like clear stickers and paper stickers, all of those fun things. I'm going to go ahead and pop this off of the discs in just a second. The books I'm working with today are Miss Maker and Flowers. This is an older one and this is a fairly new one. I'm going to go for like a pretty simple color palette, so we're just going to do some pink tones just to focus on the layering element of stuff. So the dates don't matter. I'm just planning on old planner pages. I already went ahead and grabbed some scissors, my craft tweezers, and an X-Acto knife because I feel like I'm going to be cutting some stuff apart when I'm working with this. But I selected a set of flowers out of this flowers book. Just these pink ones right here. There's 2 pages of them. I've used some of them already, but I'm just going to use whatever I have left. And then in the Miss Maker book, I want to go with some pink tones. So stuff like that, or Stay Home and Craft, or that. We're just going to be working on like layering stickers today. So I'll start with this one. This is a fun decorative box that's just kind of like an all over pattern. And when I'm placing box stickers in my planner, and I wasn't doing that in the last spread, these boxes will line up perfectly in a classic size box. So for example, if I want to put this box like up here on Monday, it'll fit nicely within the bounds of those lines, but I don't have to do that. I can go outside of those lines if I want to. So if I want to take, say, Stay Home and Craft, and again, this isn't like, well, maybe this was a bad idea because we're talking about rectangles, but if I want to put this one into this cluster and I want to kind of break outside of the lines that are already on the page, I could like layer it in this corner or something like that, and even add in a floral. So we've got some floral stickers here. I don't know how much I want to get into the greenery, but we will see. So if I take this, and these are clear florals, so you can see through them a little bit. With the paper stickers, you can't see through them as much, but if I layer this over this, I'm only partially layering it onto the sticker. I'm not putting it all the way over, so I can see through some parts of it into this like box, and other parts I just see the white paper through it. Then I could take this. As I had mentioned in that clustering video, I really do like clusters of 3. So even when I'm layering things on top of each other, I do like those odd numbers. But it doesn't even need to be clusters of 3 or layered clusters of 3. We could do even a cluster of 5 up here. If I want to take another flower, and I could slip that in from behind to kind of even out what I have going on down here. We could do that. I could take some greenery. I know I said I wanted to stay away from it. Maybe the smaller one will be a better option. So I could even put this behind, and I'm placing it so that it starts underneath this circle sticker so that you can't see the edge of it where it kind of starts, so it looks like it's kind of blossoming out from behind that circle. I think that's a really good looking cluster up here, kind of on that Monday, Tuesday area. Another kind of sticker that Happy Planner often includes in their books are these ones that are kind of like the pre-layered stickers, or they look like they're layered, but they're actually not. They're one complete sticker that looks just like that, but it also has a box built into it. So when I'm layering or clustering these ones, I kind of think about them as if they were 2 separate stickers that I had placed that way. So if I'm going to put in like a cluster and I'm going for an odd number here, and again, rules are always meant to be broken, so it doesn't really matter how many stickers you have in your cluster. You just want to do them the way that you think looks best. Maybe I only need 1 more to add into this to make it a cluster of 3, because like 1, 2, and then whatever else. As I had mentioned, you don't need to place them within the bounds of the boxes, so I could place this one like down here if I wanted to, and if I wanted to be kind of nitpicky about it, I could even take my white out and get rid of those lines that you kind of see coming through this box area right here, but I kind of like it that way. It was getting a little too noisy outside, so I decided to take a quick break, and we are back, and it is a little bit later, so if the lighting changed, that's why. But I just placed this box, and I was kind of thinking, or I was kind of talking about, you don't have to place them directly in the boxes. Sometimes the most interesting like box placement is actually like off to one side or like lower down in the box, to create some visual interest. And you can pick and choose which day this box is going to be for. Is it for Friday? Is it for Saturday? That's really up to you. But we've got one box going on there, and now I kind of want to cluster around that. So I have some floral options, but I also have some more options in this book. And I could pick something that has maybe a quote on it, which could be kind of fun, like this Craft All Weekend would be nice to kind of have right by the weekend, and it's that same pink tone. I'm being cautious not to add too much text into these clusters. So when we're thinking about this one over here, I really only want one sticker that has a bunch of text on it. I don't want them all to have text on them, otherwise it becomes a little distracting. So Stay Home and Craft is going to be like my text piece for this cluster. Yes, there's a little bit of text on this box right behind it with the happy plans, but it's not the main focus of the sticker, so I think that's fine. And over here, we don't have any text yet. So I have Craft All Weekend, and I could kind of like layer this maybe on top of the white part of this. It would get a little distracting if I put it on top of the pink, or maybe not distracting. It might get a little lost if I put it on top of the pink because it is the same color, so you can't really tell where one sticker starts and the next ends. So we could put it up here, or we could add in another kind of layering element. So maybe I want some more green leaves down here to kind of counteract what I'm doing up on that cluster Monday, Tuesday. So I could like put that right here perhaps, and then this could go on top of that. Yes, there is a little bit of pink on pink over here, but that green touch makes it look a little less like pink on pink. One thing I like to do when I'm making clusters or I'm layering stickers is kind of balancing out my shapes. So we've got some like kind of harsh geometric shapes with those squares. I like to balance them out with more organic shapes like the flowers. So if I want to add in a flower in that cluster, let's say I want to pick this one right here, I'm going to look for a place that's like kind of sharp with all the angles. So maybe right here in this section. And when I'm adding in florals to clusters, you can give the illusion of them being like layered behind something without actually having to lift up your stickers and put them behind. And this way you can use them in two different places. So I've cut it into two pieces, and I can just kind of like stick it on top of Craft All Weekend. So it kind of like, it's supposed to look as if it goes behind this Craft All Weekend. Yes, if we were thinking about the whole sticker, it would really continue through it, but this gives the illusion that it kind of cuts off or it goes behind that sticker without having to use the whole floral. And then I could use the rest of this like piece, and I could go maybe on the end of the Monday cluster. And don't be afraid to work into your sidebar. If you're not using this all for like functional stuff, you can really like be decorative over here. But I've introduced another thing going on in that cluster, so maybe I want to put like one more sticker, maybe some more green leaves to kind of balance out what I'm doing over here. So I could take this one right here. And again, if I want it to kind of look like it's peeking out from behind this pink box, you're seeing a little bit of the stem going on top of that. I can take my X-Acto knife and just kind of cut off wherever it overlaps and then remove that sticker piece. And I think that's a really pretty cluster. So we have a nice combination of the florals and then the ones from Miss Maker. I'm very happy with that cluster. I'm gonna shift my attention back to what I'm working on over here Friday, Saturday. So we've got this box, we've got kind of the text, we've got some florals. It kind of leans a little heavy onto the weekend area, so maybe I want to balance it out up here. We're looking for kind of well-rounded clustered sections, not things that like kind of taper off. So I prefer them to be kind of filled out. I can take another one of these florals, and maybe this time I'm going to go on top of the pink box and just stick it right up there. And we might even balance out this kind of circle on rectangle shape we have going on over there by taking a smaller circle. So I'm not looking for something that same size. I think that would be very overwhelming here. But if I want to take like DIY, I think that's a fine amount of text to combine with Craft All Weekend. So I could layer that right here. And I'm also looking at this and I think it might need some more green. When I'm making clusters like this, I want to make sure that I'm incorporating all of my elements. So I'm probably not going to make a cluster that's all Miss Maker stickers, and I'm probably not going to make a cluster that's all floral stickers. I want them all to have like kind of a balance between the two books that I'm working with. That way everything feels like it's kind of integrated into the theme. So we've got DIY just kind of up here in the corner. Maybe I would use this box for whatever DIY project I'm using on Friday or something like that. And you can kind of play around with the labels that you're putting on boxes. If it's not relevant to what you're doing that week, you don't need to put the sticker there. So we've got another cluster here, but now I'm thinking maybe it needs like one more cluster. So we could go maybe down here, or we could go kind of up here on Saturday, Sunday. It might be too much to put it down in the middle like Wednesday, Thursday. So I'm thinking maybe up here on Sunday would be good, especially if it's the weekend and you're not doing a whole bunch. That might be a nice place to have another decorative cluster. So you're thinking about like where your plans are in the week while you're putting the stickers down, because this isn't going to be super functional. You're only getting 2 boxes to write on Monday because we took up so much space up here at the top. So really paying attention to like, if I have a million things going on Monday, I don't want like a huge cluster there. But we left a lot of room open on Wednesday, so maybe Wednesday is a busy day, that kind of thing. Functionality always comes first in my book. I'm going to pick out some more stickers to do like one more cluster up here on Sunday. And maybe we could try making a cluster with one of these smaller boxes. So this square size is going to fit into like a monthly spread. So your calendar month at a glance, or if you're planning in a teacher planner, these would fit in those boxes as well. But there's nothing that says you can't use them in your weekly spreads. In fact, they're a nice size to like fill in a smaller area. So where I don't want something as heavy as what I did over here Monday, Tuesday, I might use one of these to add a decorative accent, but make it a little bit smaller. So I've got my Miss Maker sticker here, and it's pretty text heavy, so I don't want to pull anything else that has a whole bunch of text in it, but florals would be a good like element to combine up there. So I'll take another one of these full florals out of the flowers book, and for this one I'm going to layer it over here. When you're layering with text, you want to make sure that you're not making it unreadable by layering things on top of the text. You kind of want it to nicely frame it. So I'm using the petals to kind of shape around the word time in that cluster. And then I could take some of these green leaves. So because we have text, I'm not going to cut into it too heavily. I'm just going to stay kind of on the periphery of that sticker. I'm making sure that I can read all my words before I put the sticker down. And I kind of just nicely framed it with those leaves up there. So that's a nice simple cluster where we have one sticker that has text and then 2 like more organic decorative shapes. And I think that's good. If I wanted to get crazy with it, I could maybe put in some like smaller things in these kind of areas, but I think that's a nice element. And for the sake of this video, let's make another cluster. So I'm gonna go ahead and find another like monthly sized box in this Miss Maker book. So for example, we'll go with Happy, sticking in that pink theme. This one has a little sewing machine on it. So maybe it says So Happy, like that would be cute. I don't know if that's how they were kind of intending it, but that's how I'm reading it. We can go closer to the edge of the page too. So for example, if I don't like where it says this week's list, I can just stick a sewing machine on top of it. And you can do this with any sticker, not just sewing machines, but that's what I'm working with here. So if I put the So Happy there, I could even bring in like maybe this sticker that has the floral with the leaf already attached to it. And I can do something similar to what I was doing Saturday, Sunday. Like, consistency is key. So if I'm doing the same kinds of things with just like slightly different stickers, that'll help create some coherency between all the different pieces, or cohesiveness rather, between all the different pieces of the spread. So we've got one floral down here in this corner, and that means I'd like some leaves to kind of frame in from the other side. So I'll take this, and don't be afraid to cut the stickers. So for example, if I'm framing this upper left-hand corner, the rest of this is just going to hang off the page. So we can cut that. And the nice thing about that is that now we have this fragment that we could stick somewhere else if we really wanted to. So I can either add this to a cluster we have going on in the spread. So like maybe I wanted it like right here, or I could stick it back in the book. I think it might look nice to have it kind of around the outside of this box. These stickers that have white boxes get a little tricky because you can never like really visually tell where the border of them is. Yes, there's this orange outline around it, but the white edge kind of extends further past that. So to really highlight where the edge of that sticker is, I kind of like to put that type of sticker right up against it to really clarify, oh, that's where the edge of the box is, or where it's supposed to be. And again, it gives that illusion that it's layered into that cluster without actually being layered. It's just kind of touching it really closely. So far, all of the clusters we've built up have been pretty box heavy. Like, we've got big boxes in all of them. So when I make my last cluster, which I think is going to go down here on Wednesday, we'll keep it a little bit more simple. So I'm not going to pick this one. I'm going to pick this one up here that says make all the things. I'm going to start out with just a floral base for this. So we'll go with one of these smaller flowers. We're cutting it close on space. That's why I don't want to do anything too big. And I want this to balance out. So we have two of these bigger clusters with like the full like rectangle shape. We've got two of the monthly ones. So maybe I want to do one like smaller cluster down here. And again, we can go over those lines. We can get close to the edge of the page. And by doing that, we're actually making a lot more writable room on Wednesday, which will be helpful for like actually planning in this spread. I'll take some green leaves and I'm gonna kind of situate them like they're coming off of the flower. The intersection point of this doesn't really matter, or like where they kind of get close to each other, because I want to put the circle sticker right where they meet. So it doesn't really matter that it kind of looks a little off. Like, obviously leaves aren't going to grow out of the flower from that angle, but when I put this on this intersection point, it doesn't look like that at all. So make all the things is just going to go down there. It's a little bit smaller of a cluster, but it does make an impact because, again, it has that combination of the mist maker and the florals. It's not just the florals and it's not just the mist maker, and I'm kind of layering them so that they're touching, they're clustered together, and we can disguise those kind of unsightly intersection points by putting like a small sticker on top of them. And that's a good way to make use of all the small stickers that they include in these books. Plus we have that reoccurring circle motif that we've got there, there, and there. So 3 of them. That's a nice odd number to keep pulling this spread together. You know, we've got a triangle going that kind of draws us into the middle. And while this is a fairly decorative spread, there's also a lot of writing room that's still open. So if I want to take like colorful boxes, for example, I could even put in some checklists on this to really complete this. And I don't need to add those into the clusters. They can kind of exist independently of them. But the main focus on this like layering video is that put your stickers on top of each other, kind of bunch them together into groupings that look visually appealing. And you can do that by playing with the opacity of things. So like we're getting some clear florals that have like this one showing through them. And that'll kind of bring the pieces together a little bit more. We're surrounding these like more rigid rectangle shapes with some organic forms. So like the florals. We can give the illusion of things going behind each other by cutting them off, and that actually saves stickers so that we can put them other places within the spread. Reoccurring motifs in varying sizes. So we've got the circle here that's a little bit larger, but then we have some smaller ones. And the same thing goes with the clusters. We've got some larger clusters, we've got some medium-sized ones, and then we have like some smaller ones. So all of those elements will lead to like a fairly successful or visually pleasing spread. And you can always mix it up. We can experiment with like the size of the clusters. So maybe you want like one really big cluster that just goes across the middle of your spread. Definitely doable. Or you want to do a bunch of like really tiny clusters that kind of leave a lot more functional room in your spread. That's also an option. But when you're clustering things, I think the number one thing to be aware of is clear stickers and paper stickers kind of interact in interesting ways. So I like to play around with that. I also like to play around with just organic shapes. So those florals always add in a nice layering element. Florals are kind of my go-to layering sticker, but you can layer with anything. If we wanted to layer with a bunch of circles, we could do that, or we could do a bunch of boxes. All of those things will work out in your favor. And again, I'm planning in a fairly limited color palette here just to show you how this is done, but you can expand this into like any stickers that you choose to plan with. So I'm adding in some checklists just to give the full illusion of what I'm trying to do here. I don't know if I need this tiny little piece of one, but I think this is a fairly successful spread. And I love the pink tone. Pink and green is just like such a good color palette. Oh, and to take this like one step further, when you're actually planning out something in this spread and you say maybe you have an event on Thursday, if you want to add in a colorful box, so I'm planning with silver colorful boxes to match the checklists. If we want to add in a colorful box because we have an event on Thursday or whatever, you can continue to make these clusters bigger. So we could maybe even like stick this onto the florals, or we could put it down here on this corner. We could add it like right here if I have something on the weekend. So don't be afraid to expand on your clusters as the week goes on. So maybe I have something that's going on like Wednesday. So this is like getting to be a big cluster, but at the same time, we've added in functional space, so it's usable. So we're not afraid to like continue to expand things as the week goes on. I always try to make like any functional boxes that I add in look as if they were intended in the first place. So by adding in things to the clusters that you've already established, it looks like they were meant to be there. Like, obviously I'm putting stickers in places where I think they're going to look visually appealing, but these are like options that we have when we're planning in this spread. So maybe we could put one down here. Looks great. So I think this is like a really fun spread with all the pink tones. I'm just gonna go ahead and pop it back on the discs. If you have more questions about like layering, or I wasn't clear about something that I said in this video, do let me know down in the comments and I'd be happy to explain some more. My mind is a lot of different places right now with all the noise that was going on earlier, so I can't really remember if I missed something in the beginning. But if you do have questions, go ahead and ask down below. And I'm gonna put this back on the discs. So here's my layered Mistmaker floral spread all set up back in the planner. I'm pleased with the way this one turned out, and there's a lot of writing room for all the events that you would need to put in during the week, checklists for those days when you want to get stuff done, but it's still beautiful at the same time. So like these larger clusters really add something to the spread. I'm very excited about this. If you have a topic that you'd like to see me handle in a future episode of Planning for Beginners, let me know down in the comments. I have some ideas for future spreads, but would definitely be open to hearing what you'd like me to do on the channel, because first and foremost, these videos are about showing you how to do like decorative planning techniques. So we started with clustering, we got a little bit more into layering in this video, so overlapping things and kind of rounding out those clusters. So in this one, when we did the like strawberry lemonade kind of thing, everything was kind of nestled close together, and we took it one step further by layering them in this one. But I'm gonna call it done on this one. I'm very happy with the way this turned out, and stay tuned for another Planning for Beginners video shortly on the channel. I don't know how often I'm gonna be able to put these videos out, but I'm hoping like every week and a half or so, something like that. But there you have it. If you like this video, hit that like button down below. You can also subscribe to my channel for more fun planner-related content, and follow me over on Instagram at Caitlin Plans, where I share after the pen photos as well as photos of spreads that did not get videos. Thanks for watching, and happy planning.